there's one place where I think we should start, which is the freaking Dolphins-Bills game.
Yeah, I feel like we got a little post-game clarity here for Miami from blowing your load to getting blown out just 1 week later. Look, I think this is ultimately probably good for Dolphins fans. I know it sucks to hear now, but you need to get punched in the mouth to know what it's like. Welcome to the playoffs, essentially, Miami. Vegas knew what was up. They gave the Bills, 2.5 points they were laying? No one understood it. Miami put up 70 points last week, and we're like, come on, they're playing Bills, who are a great team, but you can't score 70 in the NFL and then be underdogs the next week. Well, turns out Vegas knew what they were doing.
Producer Carlos is a Dolphins fan. You didn't have the chutzpah to tell him that he deserved to get punched in the mouth right before we got on this call.
Look, if you would have started the season saying, hey, you're 3-1 heading into week 5, 2 is healthy, you have the best offense in the last 20 years, you take it.
Yeah, this game was wild because it started exactly how we thought it would start, which was touchdown, 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 touchdown. It literally was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then, the Bills scored on 8 of their first 9 drives, if you get rid of kneel downs. But after the first 5 drives of Dolphins going back and forth, from there, the Dolphins went 3-and-out punt, 3-and-out punt, 3-and-out fumble away, 3-and-out punt.
Yeah.
And then it was halftime. And they came back, and there was touchdown and pick, and then basically at that point the game was over. But honestly, they hit Tua. Teron Armstead, the left tackle for the Dolphins, went out of the game. And then after that, Tua was sacked 4 times. And Tua had been sacked once coming into the game.
Yeah, they didn't let him breathe. Tua gets the ball out quick anyway, and they just got to him before he could even make his first read half the time. That's why he threw some picks. And again, Tua doesn't have a lot of zip on the ball. So when he's a little scattered and he starts throwing up these bloops, bad shit happens. So you kind of saw the blueprint. If there is a way to stop Miami's offense, you kind of saw it today.
No, I will say, I think there's so many quarterbacks. Obviously watching Mahomes tonight, well, not tonight, but every other game Mahomes has played, Josh Allen, Anthony Richardson, Herbert, where they have these throws that we just there's so many. It used to be like Elway was the only one to do this. Now there's 6 guys who can do it, where their feet aren't set. Mahomes is in the air but they can still throw this pass that's incredibly 30 yards downfield pinpoint. And Tua, as much as he's good, he really still is you need a normal human mortal person who needs his feet set. And you're so right that once he's off his spot,
passer, but he's a good rhythm passer.
And honestly, Tua and Joe Burrow can have the ball for the same amount of time. The difference is the Dolphins offense before 2 seconds when he gets rid of it is good. But I will say the Dolphins offensive line, once Armstead went out, they couldn't actually hold the Bills for more than the 3 seconds. And it did feel Isaiah Wynn could not block it all over. And so it was, I don't know. It's odd to watch Tua try to improvise and run away.
How does this make you feel about the Dolphins? Heading into what's most likely to be, a long playoff run for them. Do you feel like this team is kind of a smoke and mirrors regular season team? Or do you feel like they just got hit in the mouth by the Bills and they'll be fine?
I think they got hit in the mouth by the Bills. They're playing the Giants next week, so that's another buzzsaw. That's tough. So, they're probably going to have a losing streak. Yeah. But I think the Dolphins, honestly, the issues are still the issues that I felt actually before the season, which is it's kind of a thin team where Tyreek Hill went out of this game and ended up being a play or two. But when he went out, I remember thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen now? And it just reminded, obviously we always talk about Tua and the injury, but losing Teron Armstead, the whole game changed when Armstead, at least in my opinion, Tua didn't get sacked before that. And then it's if Tyreek goes down, I think that's my issue, is that how much depth is there really?
Yeah, they're not even really using Waddle all that much, and they're really relying on River Craycraft and Braxton Berrios and Smythe. And you kind of realize, man, there's really not a lot of depth there in the receiving core. And then even the running backs. Mostert, man, we on our Power Hour show on Wednesday, we ranked our favorite sell high candidates, and Heifetz, I think you put Mostert as number 1, and that's aged pretty well. The guy had 7 carries today for 9 yards. Meanwhile, Devon Achane still doesn't sound right. Over 100 yards once again, 2 touchdowns, looks fantastic. And Mostert fumbled twice. Has the window already closed on Mostert? Can you still sell him high? He's still a top 5 running back on the season overall by points, but 9 rushing yards today compared to 120 for Achane.
Yeah, no, the Mostert sell high when it's closed because it's the blurb test. It's the blurb's going to be negative on Mostert, where the blurb's going to be like, oh, Achane's the starter, and Jeff Wilson will go back. And like, oh, man, so you're done. You're done with that. You're stuck with Mostert. I will say, I don't want to be too doom and gloom on the Dolphins because they got their butts kicked, but the offense still looked cool. Like, Achane was incredible. I mean, he has over 10 yards a touch for the second week in a row. Yeah. That's pretty insane. 120 yards and 2 touchdowns on like 11 touches. The other one, the Dolphins offense is still insane. Because Achane's first touchdown, he was lined up as a receiver, and Tyreek Hill was in the backfield as a running back.
Oh, yeah.
And then Achane just took the jet sweep. And it's like, there's just like, it's insane. Like, Achane's like, these are two like all-world track athletes just getting, again, into full sprint before the game, or before the snap. But at the same time, though, I don't know, as bad as it was, it should have been worse because Tua should have threw a pick 6 at one point. It was just kind of dropped. So, yeah, Bills. The one thing we have to mention with the Bills, they look like Super Bowl contenders, the best team in the AFC, but they lost Tre'Davious White, the cornerback, who they had only had, like, the Bills' strength and defense was Tre'Davious White, who's an all-pro cornerback, and their 2 best safeties were Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. And now they down one of their safeties, and now Tre'Davious White has an Achilles injury. He's out for the season. And it's like that was their strength, and now they're back to having all these injuries in the secondary again. So even though the Bills look dominant, it's like, all right, we'll see what they can do without those guys. They're kind of just mortal on defense.